Welcome to the video guide for Jaldabaoth's Piercing Gale Expert, the second of the Rise of the Sinister Dominion series of boss fights released as part of patch 2.7.0 of Dragalia Lost. Expert Jaldabaoth is less execution intensive compared to Lilith, feeling more like a roster check. But for now, my name is Xenozilus, and let's get straight to it. Much like Lilith, Expert Jaldabaoth is a two-form fight, starting the base angel form and then a transformation once you clear the first health bar. His unique ability is Tome of Creation, which activates in the second phase. This ability summons minions that will deplete a counter if they're not killed in time. If this counter reaches 0, you'll wipe, forcing a revive. More often than not, the team-wide revive will leave you in a rough position to continue the fight. So if the team wipes, it's probably a failed run. Becoming a staple of the Sinister Dominion fights are Creeping Corrosion, a damage over time effect that's nullified by healing, and Curse of Nihility, nullifying the effects of buffs on adventurers and preventing buffs from being applied for its duration. As with other endgame fights, certain mechanics and attacks will be skipped or repeated based on phase progression and remaining hit points. Jaldabaoth begins the fight as Fallen Gabriel with a handful of reactable mechanics. The fight starts with Gabriel summoning a deceitful puppet ad, as well as immediately applying Curse Nihility. This is quickly followed by more ads being spawned in. Kill these ads as efficiently as you can, prioritizing the puppet as it'll begin to target players with large AoEs if it's left alive for too long. This is followed by Prison of Sin. A player is marked, and is soon immobilized while a big purple donut AoE lands around them. This is handled fine by AI in solo, but in co-op the targeted player should move to the edge of the arena so the rest of the team can maintain DPS uptime. After this, Gabriel charges a room-wide unavoidable purple AoE, Dark Discipline. This hits moderately hard and applies Creeping Corrosion, so eating too many mechanics beforehand can lead to a death at this point. Gabriel then selects a player with a red crosshair before hitting them with a small unavoidable AoE that inflicts a marked debuff. After this, Gabriel spawns a Catoblepas Anemos ad. This ad instantly targets a player marked by the previous mechanic with a wide purple cone AoE, followed by red marked dashes. This is coupled with Healing Mother. Gabriel moves to the center of the arena, gains invulnerability, and spawns a weak point that can be destroyed multiple times. If the timer above the weak point expires with weak points remaining, Gabriel will gain some hefty attack, defense, and regen buffs. It's not the end of the world if you need to dispel a buff or two, but completely ignoring the weak point will derail your run. Handle the weak point alongside the various ads, and Gabriel will move on to Cyclone of Condemnation. This is a set of 3 AoE patterns with purple circles and donuts, while you want to move in, out, and then back in again. It's fairly quick, so focus on moving to avoid this. After that, mechanics will repeat until you clear the first phase. Once you clear the first form, we enter Phase 2. Phase 2 starts with Jaldabaoth spawning a set of ads with timers, as well as activating the Tome of Creation. If a mob isn't killed before their timer expires, they'll be despawned and subtract from the tome counter, which is visible under the boss's HP bar. If this reaches 0, you wipe, so keep those mobs under control. While the 25-second timer on the mobs is pretty generous, they also get a burst heal and attack and defense buffs if the timer reaches about halfway. So take care of them sooner than later if possible. Jaldabaoth couples this with an unnamed green orb attack. These take a second to come out, but emerge with no telegraph. I frame these, noting that they'll detonate if they hit a wall or player with a lingering hitbox. These also inflict sleep, so take extra care with stun resist characters. Jaldabaoth also has an unnamed teleport attack before charging a red laser. Iframe or dodge is necessary. If you iframe this with an attack skill while Jaldabaoth is in overdrive, you'll perform an overdrive counter. And as with the green orbs, this also inflicts sleep. After this, Jaldabaoth spawns Void Agni. Void Agni will dash and then target the furthest player with Devastation. This attack stops tracking a split second before it's released, so maneuver is appropriate. Jaldabaoth will be invulnerable while Agni is alive, so burst him down as soon as possible, dealing with the additional ads as they're spawned. If Void Dragons are left alive while their timers expire, they count for multiple times. Be wary if you've let ads slip through. Once Agni is down and Jaldabaoth is vulnerable again, focus down the book part as it'll be damageable for the first time. This is a good time to save Dragon Form forward to deal a large amount of burst damage, as Jaldabaoth will spawn another Agni and prolong the fight if the book is left intact. After Agni and the book are dealt with, Jaldabaoth will summon Executioners, creating circles at the top right and bottom left edges of the arena that will periodically spawn adds. This will be quickly accompanied by more adds and Amplification Anthem. This is essentially the same as Healing Mother in Phase 1, spawning weak points with a time limit that grant Jaldabaoth buffs if they're left up. Destroy the weak points first, killing adds at the same time if possible, before turning your attention to the Executioner circles. After a few repeated green orb attacks, Jaldabaoth will restore his book and spawn Void Nidhogg, followed by additional adds. Nidhogg uses some fairly reactable purple and red telegraphed attacks, so dealing with him will be slightly less annoying compared to Agni. Following this is Persistent Punishment. This spawns a laser that chases down a target, prioritizing marked targets. This deals moderate damage, which is normally taken care of by any regen heal. Feel free to ignore the mechanic and keep wailing on the boss so long as you haven't been eating other attacks. A slight word of warning: if the counter on the Tome of Creation goes to 5 or below, several of Jaldabaoth's attacks are enhanced. The teleport and laser attack gains an extra laser and a purple telegraphed section. More green orbs will come out at the same time. All players in co-op are targeted by Persistent Punishment, and Jaldabaoth gains a new stack marker attack. It's not the end of the world, but it does hinder your DPS a bit if it takes more work to dance around mechanics. After that, you've seen it all. Keep control of the adds and you'll have the fight sorted. The mechanics here aren't as complex compared to Lilith, as the telegraphs are fairly simple. The main issue is knowing your timings and knowing when to hold back and save skills to burst Void Dragons, or when to hold skills to deal with big packs of adds. Since everyone's uptime and execution is going to vary wildly, your own rotation is something you'll have to shape with a bit of practice. You'll do a better job teaching yourself through experience than I can explain anyhow. Most mistakes that I see come down to timing. Smooth runs typically save dragon forms for bursting down Void Dragons or the book, so try and do the same yourself. Bursting down the Tome of Creation part once the Void Dragon is down is also important to prevent a repeat spawn of the same dragon from elongating the fight. Naturally, seeing more mechanics means there's more opportunities to make mistakes. Finally, another issue that can scupper runs is allowing loose adds to slip through. Occasionally you'll get custom mobs hanging at the edge of the arena, dodging skills. Try and take care of these when you see them, as it only takes a handful of ignored mobs to make the fight a lot trickier. This might be a bit better with knockback changes in an upcoming update, but we'll probably still see the occasional Goblin Mage survive for longer than we'd like. When it comes to team compositions, much like Lilith, any character that's particularly buff heavy gets nerfed. Healers typically used in this fight are Valentine's Hildegard and Halloween Lowen. While Hildegard loses her energy, she still provides a hefty shield and regen as well as dispel as necessary. On the other hand, Lowen has a bit more raw healing and also has max hit point buffs. Besides healers, the premier unit used for this fight is Gala Leonidas. He brings big AoEs, dispel, as well as easy access to Dragon Form burst to take care of Void Dragon adds. Outside of Leonidas, I recommend using Yuden, David, Nobunaga, Panther, Kimono Alazan, Mim, or Student Maribel. This is by no means an exhaustive list, and you'll have to take extra care if you're using characters that don't resist sleep, as green orbs coming from off-screen can often catch you by surprise. My own solo team uses Nobunaga, Incognito Nefaria, Panther, and Lowen for a mix of large AoEs and dispel, but even I struggle to clear 100% of the time due to lacking both Gala Leonidas and Mars. If you like flame adventurers that natively have big AoEs, bringing shared skills such as Gala Masculas, Gala Princes, or Eugene's skills can help shore up the difference. Kimono Alazan also deserves a bit of a highlight. She's essentially a Strength Amp character that can max out Strength Amp in a single cast, and as such, she can contribute a considerable amount to team DPS. Outside of Sinister Dominion content though, she's rather lackluster. I'd run her if I had her, as a shorter fight can make farming Jaldabaoth more bearable. Otherwise, seeing what other content creators run in auto compositions can give you an idea of what's strong enough that even AI can pilot it to a victory. Be sure to search around for those to build up your own knowledge of the fight. If you have further questions, feel free to leave a comment or pop by my Twitch streams. I stream Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9:30 PM GMT. As always, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.